Hey, good morning. Welcome to a weekend edition of Morning Scone. These tend to be really popular, and considering many of you after the LSU baseball game on Friday night were asking about today, I'm guessing today will be rather popular. Three things I want to touch on, and if you watch the channel, you know the drill. I don't like to go more than 10, 11 minutes on these, so we'll move quickly to make sure we talk about LSU baseball losing last night. The Pelicans, that can close out their series tonight, and of course the spring game is today in Tiger Stadium. So really busy time here in Baton Rouge around LSU and the Pelicans as well. So LSU baseball loses last night to South Carolina. I want to talk about Zach Hess, the offense, and then the overall standings in the SEC. We can go particularly in that order. So Zach Hess was obviously not very sharp, gave up a bunch of two-out hits, threw way too many pitches, but I will give him so much credit because Zach Hess, while he wasn't sharp, that's what you look for an ace to do. When you don't have your best stuff, you find a way to extend deep into the ball game. He threw 107 pitches and got you through 6 and handed the ball off to the bullpen down just 3-0. There was a bases loaded no out situation where he got a ground ball double play and allowed just 1 run to score, and only 1 more run came in after that after a single. And aside from the home run in the first inning, that was it. Hess allowed a bunch of base runners. He gave up, look at his stat line right now. He walked 2. He gave up 8 hits, but allowed only 3 runs. And man, that's how you battle, and that's what you need your ace to do. And he did. The offense and the bullpen just completely let him down. I mean, there was a spot yesterday where Hess had a batter 0-2 in the middle innings. And I mean, think about that. Think about the Zach Hess of a year ago if he got anybody down 0-2. I mean, it was wipeout slider time, and you weren't coming close. He threw a ball over the middle of the plate, could hit it through the right side of the infield. I mean, it's just that it was that kind of day for Zach Hess. So didn't have his best stuff, but still gave LSU a chance to win. That's actually really encouraging. The offense, however, was dreadful. And this is my problem right now with this offense. As you've seen with this team, they clearly have enough talent to produce. They had averaged 10 runs a game over their last 3 games, more than 10 runs per game over their last 3. They have the ability to produce 1 through 9 and to be a really good offense. Their approach right now stinks. It stinks. Last night, you made a freshman pitcher from South Carolina, who's got a good arm, you made him look like Clayton Kershaw. All that kid was doing was throwing changeups. I'm not saying it's easy to hit, but at some point, you got to make that kid work. I mean, he was at 70 pitches through 6 innings, thereabouts. That's absurd when you look at what Carolina did to Zach Hess. They battled, they fouled off pitches, they drove up his pitch count, they made him uncomfortable. They only touched him for 3 runs, but when you make someone make an uncomfortable pitch, there's either more of an opportunity for him to make a mistake or you to get a hit. So, man, the approach for LSU right now, this free-swinging, aggressive approach early in the count is not serving it well. And even if that's your approach early in the game, when you recognize you're not succeeding with that approach, change it. Tell your hitters to go up there and be patient. Tell them to take till they get 2 strikes. Foul off pitches. Run up the pitch count and try to get into the bullpen and get to somebody else. That's the most frustrating thing about what happened last night. Hess battled the bullpen. And to be clear, you can look at the bullpen. They went Sanders, Moffitt, Vetmeyer. And very clearly at that point, when they were down 3-0, they gave it to Sanders when Sanders got touched up, and he gave up 5 earned runs. But when Sanders got touched up in the 7th for 2 runs, at that point, Maneri said, "Okay, it's over. Just let's get through it." So Moffitt only got through a third of an inning. Vetmeyer came and finished out that inning, but he even gave up another run. So the good is that you were able to save your key arms. 3-0. If Maneri really felt like they were still in it, he would have gone and gotten Beck or Bush or somebody that one of his arms that he really relies on, and basically told you at that point he didn't feel like they were going to be able to rally against that pitching staff, and they didn't. So if you're looking for the silver lining, and I know the feeling that some are going to have is, well, today's a must-win. Okay, I don't believe in the must-win thing until it's literally a must-win. And you got 4 weekends left in the conference after this one. So you're running out of time, but you've still got 12 games. And as we've seen, so much can happen over that span of time. But considering next week you're at Ole Miss and the following week you're at Arkansas, this feels like an opportunity because the next 2 weeks are going to be really hard. And then you wrap up with Alabama and Auburn, both of which are winnable series. Today is massive for Mikal Hilliard. It's the biggest start of his career because even though last night was ugly, you can still win the series. If Mikal Hilliard goes out tonight and pitches beautifully, which he's capable of, and LSU gets off against Adam Hill, who's South Carolina's best pitcher, but walks a ton of guys, hence, be patient. They can go out, LSU can go put up 6 runs in the first couple innings against Adam Hill, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's similar to what happened with Montez Dioka, the kid from Missouri. You can get off against that guy early if he's wild and is struggling with his command. Like, that's entirely possible for LSU to win the game. So the great news is, as bad as last night was, it counts as 1, and you still have an opportunity to win this series, and you're no worse off depending on, as opposed to if you had won game 1, lost game 2, and won game 3. So tonight's huge. It's huge for Mikal Hilliard because if you don't win tonight, your goals are still there, but you're going to have to do something extraordinary. You're going to have to win every series remaining, including at Ole Miss and home against Arkansas, which I think is a really, really tough ask. So biggest start of the year for Mikal Hilliard. Let's see how he does today. That's a 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock first pitch for LSU today. Yeah, LSU's at 3. Baseball's at 3. Then the Pels are at 4. Then LSU Spring Game is at 5. So you got your afternoon pretty well stacked. Now, I wanted to talk about the conference. So LSU got some help last night. Tennessee beat Texas A&M. Georgia beat Ole Miss in Oxford 3-2. And Mississippi State rallied from down 5-0 to beat Arkansas 6-5. So all the contenders in the West all lost. So you are literally no worse off in the West standings than you were before last night's game because you were a game behind Arkansas and a game ahead of Ole Miss, and that's still where you stand. Arkansas is 10-6, you're 9-7. Ole Miss and A&M are tied at 8-8. So quite literally, you're no worse off. There was no damage done last night. You got some favors done for you. So Mikal Hilliard, go win tonight because you're probably not going to get that help again for the rest of those series with Arkansas and with Ole Miss. So a gigantic spot for LSU today and for Mikal Hilliard. Please leave questions, comments. I'm happy to interact. You can tweet me as well throughout the day if you want to do that. 2 other things. Number 1, Pels are a 7-point favorite tonight. This should not be close. Like, the Blazers looked like a team during Game 3 that they did quit. I mean, they took the starters out with 7 minutes to go. I didn't think this was going to be a Pelican sweep. I thought it was going to be Pels in 6. I love the matchup, but at this point, if you're Portland, you realize what you're up against, and my guess is they're just going to take it to the house. The avalanche of emotion and the opportunity to close it out, not have to get back on a plane to Portland, is going to be plenty enough for the Pelicans tonight. I think they're going to win, so enjoy closing out a series for the first time in a decade. I will certainly be locked into all of this stuff. And then the spring game starts at 5. A couple of things that I'm keeping an eye on. And by the way, I do have a column going up. It may be up by the time you watch this at gridironnow.com with 5 things that I'm watching for today's spring game. So go check it out at gridironnow.com. But I want to see efficiency at quarterback to see for our own eyes if there's any separation among the 3 of them. I definitely want to see what happens at the center spot because if Lloyd Cushenberry struggles, I think you go into fall camp with either Garrett Brumfield or Damian Lewis as a legit candidate to steal that job. I definitely want to see Tyler Shelvin, one of the top players in the state a couple of years ago, who didn't play last year because he was academically ineligible, with so much that LSU has to replace across the defensive line. He's had weight issues, but I'm curious if he can be an impactful force in the middle. So I want to see Shelvin. I absolutely want to see the cornerbacks. I mean, when you're DBU and you only got 4 corners, Steve Ensminger said the receivers are the strong point of his offense. If that's the case, then your cornerback should have a challenge today. We know Greedy's good. Let me see who else might emerge because, look, I mean, the guys that are there have to play because you're just short on numbers. And most importantly is health. Just get out of the spring game healthy, as we've talked about. Auburn, Alabama, Arkansas, Kentucky, Florida State. I mean, I can keep going the number of schools that have suffered significant injuries to starters here in the spring. LSU's been very lucky. Nothing more than like your common garden variety bumps and bruises that happen in football. Get through this spring game healthy, and that would be just paramount for this team right now. So busy day. 3 o'clock LSU baseball, 4 o'clock Pelicans, 5 o'clock LSU spring game. I'll be locked into it all. I'll be interacting, and we'll have a morning scone on Sunday to recap all of it. So hopefully you will tune in then. In the meantime, please hit the red subscribe button right down there on the screen. I appreciate you for watching. As always, likes, comments, shares, all that good stuff. Please feel free. All that interaction helps me, and comment. Love to interact with you throughout the day. All right, y'all. Have a great one. We'll talk on down the road.